everyone, and welcome back to English Everyday Channel. I'm Emily, and I'm so happy to have you all here with us today.
And I'm Paul. It's always such a pleasure to be back with our wonderful listeners and viewers from all around the world.
Absolutely, Paul. Every time we come together like this, it feels like we're meeting good friends again. Friends who love learning English and growing together.
That's so true, Emily. And today, we have a really important and meaningful topic to talk about, something that connects all of us, no matter who we are or where we come from.
Exactly. Today we're going to talk about feelings. Yes, feelings. It's something every single one of us experiences every day. Happiness, sadness, excitement, fear, all of it. Learning how to express these emotions in English is such a powerful step on your language journey.
It really is, because when you can describe how you feel, you don't just learn new words, you learn how to connect with people on a deeper level.
That's such a good point, Paul. And for everyone who's joining us, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on your favorite podcast app, here's a friendly reminder. Please share this episode with your friends who are learning English, and don't forget to subscribe to English Everyday Channel if you haven't already.
And of course, hit that like button. It really helps us a lot. Plus, we love reading your comments. We honestly enjoy hearing what you think, how you're feeling, and what you'd like us to talk about next.
That's right. Your feedback means so much to us, and it helps make our little learning community warmer and closer every single week.
So, now that we've got our happy energy going, let's get started.
Yes, let's dive in and find out why talking about our feelings is so important. Okay, Paul, let's start with a simple question. Why do you think talking about our feelings is so important? Sometimes it can feel a little bit difficult, right?
Yes, it can. It's not always easy to open up, especially when we're used to keeping things to ourselves. But it's actually really good for us, Emily. When we talk about how we feel, it helps our mental health. It's like letting out a little bit of what's inside, giving our hearts and minds some fresh air.
Exactly. We all carry so many emotions every day. Stress, joy, worry, excitement. And if we keep everything bottled up, it starts to weigh on us, even if we don't notice it at first. When we express our feelings, we release that pressure. It's a healthy way to take care of ourselves.
That's right, and it's not just good for our minds, it also helps with communication. When we share how we feel, other people understand us better. It's like turning on a light so others can see what's really going on inside.
That's a beautiful way to say it, Paul. If I'm feeling happy and I tell you, Paul, I'm so happy today, you immediately understand what kind of day I'm having. It makes our conversation more real, more alive.
Exactly. And it also helps our relationships, not just with friends, but with family, classmates, even coworkers. When we express what's in our hearts, we build trust.
Oh, totally. If I'm feeling a bit sad and I tell my friend, I'm feeling sad today, my friend might say, Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Can I help? That little moment of sharing can build such a strong connection. It's like a tiny bridge forming between two hearts.
Oh, a bridge. I love that image. Because that's really what it is. When we share feelings, we invite others to meet us halfway. We let them see who we really are, and that's how deeper friendships begin.
That's so true. So, To sum it up, talking about our feelings is good for our mind, it helps us understand each other better, and it makes our relationships stronger.
Wow, 3 in 1. Good for our mind, good for connection, good for friendship.
Yes, wow, indeed. And the best part is everyone can start practicing it, even with simple words.
Right. So why don't we help our listeners by going over some of those basic feeling words next?
Great idea, Paul. Let's do it.
All right, now for our amazing English learners. Let's go over some basic words for feelings. These are simple words that we use almost every day, but they're so important because they help us share how we truly feel.
Absolutely, Paul. And when you use them in real conversations, your English sounds natural, warm, and alive, not robotic or too formal. So let's start with one of the easiest and happiest words, happy.
Oh, yes, everyone loves that one. When you smile, when you laugh, when you feel light inside, you are happy. Like right now, Emily, I'm feeling happy talking with you.
Me too, Paul. Happiness is such a simple but powerful feeling. It makes life bright. And next, we have sad, the opposite of happy. It's that heavy feeling you get when things don't go your way or when you miss someone you love.
Right, like when it rains all day and you wanted to go outside and have fun, you might feel a bit sad. It's okay to feel that way sometimes. Sadness is part of being human.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about another one, angry. That's when you feel upset, hot inside, maybe even ready to shout. It often happens when something feels unfair or when things don't go as planned.
Like when you miss the bus after running so hard to catch it, you might feel a little angry.
Oh, yes, that's a good one, Paul. Anger is natural, but the key is learning how to express it in a calm way, especially in English.
Very true. Next, we have tired, a feeling we all know too well. That's when your body and mind say, I need a break, or I want to sleep.
I definitely feel that after a long day of recording podcasts. But seriously, after working hard, studying, or even after a long conversation, it's normal to feel tired.
Good one. And now let's move on to a more positive emotion. Excited. That's when something good is going to happen and you can't wait for it.
Yes, like before a holiday trip or your birthday, you feel that happy energy in your chest. Your heart beats faster. You're so excited. Yay!
Exactly. And then we have scared. That's when something makes you feel afraid. Maybe you watched a spooky movie or you heard a strange noise at night.
I know that feeling. Like when you hear a door creak in the dark and you're alone at home, you feel scared. And that's totally okay too. Everyone gets scared sometimes.
That's right. And finally, for our basic list today, we have nervous. That's when you have to do something important, like take a big test or speak in front of a crowd.
I remember feeling so nervous before recording my first podcast episode. But now I feel comfortable and happy.
See, practice really does make perfect. The more you use English, the less nervous you'll feel over time.
That's such good encouragement, Paul. And before we move on, let's remind our listeners about something important. The difference between I feel and I am.
Oh yes, that's very useful. Let's talk about that next. Okay, now let's take a short but very important moment to talk about something that can really help our learners. the difference between I feel and I am.
Oh, yes, this is super useful. A lot of English learners ask us about this, and honestly, it's easier than it sounds.
Exactly. When we talk about our emotions, we often say, I feel happy or I feel sad. This describes your current state, how you're feeling right now.
Right. It's like a snapshot of your emotions in the moment, what's happening inside your heart. For example, I feel happy today because the sun is shining. Or I feel tired after studying all night.
Perfect examples, Emily. But you can also say, I am happy or I am sad. Both are correct and mean almost the same thing.
That's right. The difference is really small. I feel focuses a little more on your emotional state, while I am simply describes your condition.
For example, you can say, I feel tired or I am tired. They both mean the same thing. You need rest.
Yes, exactly. Or if you want to share something cheerful, you can say, I feel happy today, or I am happy today. Both sound perfectly natural.
And here's a little tip for our learners. Don't worry too much about which one to use. At this stage, just pick one and use it confidently. What matters most is expressing yourself clearly.
That's wonderful advice, Paul, because language learning is about communication, not perfection. Even native speakers mix between I feel and I am all the time.
Exactly. So the next time someone asks you, how are you? You can try saying, I feel great, or I'm a bit tired today. Both are perfectly fine and sound friendly.
See, you can't really go wrong with either one. The key is to use your words. Don't stay silent. Let your emotions have a voice.
Well said, Emily. So now that our listeners understand how to express basic emotions correctly, why don't we move on to some more specific and advanced feelings?
Great idea, Paul. Let's help our learners describe their emotions in more detail so they can sound more fluent, more expressive, and more natural when speaking English. Okay, now that we've learned some basic feelings, let's go a little deeper and explore some more specific emotions. These words can help you describe exactly how you feel in a clearer and more expressive way.
Ooh, I like this part. Because when you know more emotional words, you can really paint a picture with your English. It makes your speaking sound rich and full of life.
Exactly, Paul. Let's start with one that we all feel from time to time. Frustrated. This is when you try to do something, but it's just not working the way you want.
Yes, like when you try to put together some furniture and the instructions don't make any sense, you turn it around, flip it over, and it still doesn't fit. You might feel very frustrated.
That's such a real example. Frustration happens when you're putting in effort, but nothing seems to go right. It's like your brain says, why is this so difficult?
Exactly. And next we have overwhelmed. This one means you have too much to do, too much on your mind, and you feel like you can't handle it all.
Oh, yes, that's a common one, especially for students. Too many assignments, too many tests, too many responsibilities, and suddenly you feel like your brain is spinning. That's what we call feeling overwhelmed.
It's true. We all get that feeling sometimes. The world moves so fast and it's easy to feel like we can't keep up.
Right. Now, let's talk about anxious. This one is similar to nervous, but it's usually a little stronger. It means you're worrying about something, maybe something that hasn't even happened yet.
Like before a very important job interview, you might feel very anxious. Your stomach feels strange, your hands might shake a little, and your mind keeps imagining every possible outcome.
That's so accurate. And it's important to remember that anxiety is a normal feeling. It just means you care about what's going to happen.
Well said, Emily. Now, here's a positive one. Proud. It's when you or someone you love does something really well and your heart feels full.
Yes, like when you finish a big project after working so hard, you feel proud of yourself. Or when your child learns to ride a bike for the first time, you feel so proud of them.
That's a beautiful feeling. It's one of those emotions that make all your effort feel worth it.
Absolutely. Now, let's look at something a bit more emotional. Lonely. This is when you feel alone, even if there are people around you. You just wish you had someone to talk to or someone who truly understands.
Yes, that's true. Sometimes we all feel lonely, even in a crowd. It doesn't mean you're weak, it just means you need connection.
That's right, Paul. And it's okay to feel lonely sometimes. The key is to recognize it and reach out to others.
Well said. Next, let's talk about confident. This is when you believe in yourself and your abilities. You feel ready to take on the challenge.
Like when you know the answer in class and you proudly raise your hand. That's confidence. It's that strong feeling of, yes, I can do this.
Exactly. Confidence is something that grows every time you practice, especially when learning a new language, like English.
I agree. And finally, for this section, we have disappointed. This is when something you hoped for doesn't happen and you feel a little sad because of it.
Like when your favorite team loses a big game, you feel very disappointed. Or when a plan you were excited about gets canceled at the last minute.
Oh, yes, that's always tough. But it's okay. Disappointment is temporary, and we can always find something new to look forward to.
Exactly. So now that we've learned all these specific emotions, let's move on to how to describe the strength of these feelings, whether they're small or very strong.
Perfect. Let's help our listeners make their English even more colorful.
So, Emily, now that we've learned so many different emotions, let's talk about how to describe how strong those feelings are. Because, not all feelings are the same level. Sometimes it's just a little, and sometimes it's a whole storm inside.
That's so true, Paul. Sometimes you're just a bit sad, and other times you're completely devastated. Being able to describe how strong your feelings are makes your English sound much more natural and expressive.
Exactly. Let's look at a simple example. If you drop your ice cream on the ground, oh no, you might say, I'm a bit sad. That means just a little sad.
Yes, a little sad because your ice cream is gone, but you'll get over it quickly. Now, if something much bigger happens, like losing something very important to you, you might say, I'm completely devastated. That means you're extremely sad. It's a deep, heavy emotion.
Right. So we can use words like a bit, a little, very, really, completely, or extremely to show the intensity of how we feel. These words help you add color and emotion to your sentences.
Exactly. It's like painting with words. For example, you could say, I'm a little nervous before my presentation. Or if it's a really big deal, you could say, I'm extremely anxious about it. Do you hear how different they sound? One feels light and one feels very strong.
That's a great point. Adding these words doesn't just make your English sound better, it makes it sound more human. People will understand you more clearly because you're showing exactly how much you feel something.
So true. And here's another fun example. If your friend gets you a small surprise gift, you might say, "Oh, I'm really happy." But if you win the lottery, okay, maybe not today, you'd say, "I'm absolutely over the moon."
I love that. Over the moon means you're very, very happy. And it's one of those idioms that makes English sound so alive.
Exactly. So learning to use intensity words like really, completely, or extremely helps you sound more fluent and natural in conversation.
Let's try one more set of examples for our listeners. I'm a bit tired. That means you could still keep going. But I'm really tired means you need to rest soon. And I'm completely exhausted? Oh no, that means you need to lie down right now.
That's perfect, Paul. The more you practice describing how strong your feelings are, the more expressive and confident you'll sound.
Exactly. And once you get comfortable using these, you can start learning idioms. Those fun, colorful English expressions that don't always mean what they say.
Oh, I love idioms. They make English sound so natural and full of personality.
Let's share some of our favorite ones about feelings.
Great idea. Let's dive into that next. All right, now that we've talked about how strong our feelings can be, let's have a little fun with English idioms about emotions. Idioms are special expressions where the meaning isn't always clear from the words themselves, but they're used all the time by native speakers.
Oh, I love idioms. They make English sound so natural and colorful. And when you start using them, you'll sound much more fluent, like someone who's been speaking English for years.
Exactly. So let's start with a really happy one. I'm on cloud nine. It means you're extremely happy, so happy that you feel like you're floating up in the sky.
I love that one. Like when you finally go on your dream vacation, you can say, "My vacation starts tomorrow. I'm on cloud nine."
Yes, that's the feeling of pure joy and excitement. When something wonderful happens, you're just on cloud nine. And the image is so nice, right? It's like you're surrounded by soft, fluffy clouds and nothing can bother you.
That's perfect, Emily. Now, the next one is kind of the opposite. It's, I'm feeling under the weather. This means you're feeling a bit sick. Not terribly ill, but not your best either.
Right. It's a gentle way to say you're not feeling well. For example, I can't come to the party tonight. I'm feeling under the weather. You don't have to explain all your symptoms. People will understand right away.
Exactly. And it's a nice way to be polite when you're talking about health. Instead of saying, I'm sick, you can just say, I'm under the weather. It sounds softer and more natural.
Good point, Paul. Now here's another interesting one. He's walking on eggshells. That means someone is being very careful not to upset another person, especially if that person gets angry or is sensitive easily.
Oh, yes, that's a great one. If you're with someone who's in a bad mood, you might say, I'm walking on eggshells around him today. It's like you're tiptoeing and watching every word you say.
Exactly. And the image is so clear. Walking on tiny eggshells without breaking them. That's how careful you have to be sometimes.
That's true. And the last idiom we'll talk about in this section is a sad one. It broke my heart. This means something made you very, very sad or deeply disappointed.
Yes. For example, when my dog ran away, it broke my heart. That's such a powerful expression. You can feel the sadness in the words.
Yeah, that's one of those phrases that people use when something really hurts emotionally, like losing someone or when something you love doesn't work out.
Exactly. And idioms like these are everywhere in English. They make your speech sound natural and full of emotion, but they also take a bit of practice to remember.
That's right. The best way to learn idioms is to hear them and use them in real conversations. The more you practice, the more they'll stick in your mind.
Absolutely. And don't worry if you forget them sometimes. Idioms are like friends. The more you spend time with them, the easier it is to remember their names.
I like that, Emily. That's a fun way to put it. So now that we've learned these idioms, how about we move on to something just as important, which is how to ask other people about their feelings?
Great idea, Paul, because asking someone how they feel shows kindness, care, and empathy. Let's dive into that next. So, Paul, we've talked a lot about how to describe our own feelings, but now let's look at something just as important: how to ask other people about their feelings.
Yes, that's such a great topic, Emily, because when we ask someone about their feelings, we're not just speaking English, we're showing that we care. We're building connection and trust.
Exactly. And sometimes asking about someone's feelings can make a big difference in their day. Maybe they just need someone to notice, to ask, "Hey, are you okay?"
That's true. The most common and simple question, of course, is, "How are you?" But sometimes when people hear that, they just say, "I'm fine," even when they're not really fine.
Yes, that's so true. It's almost like an automatic answer. "I'm fine. I'm okay." But if you want to know more, you can ask a little deeper. For example, "How are you really feeling?" That little word really shows that you truly care about the answer.
I love that. It's gentle, but it opens the door for a real conversation. You're saying, "I'm ready to listen if you want to share."
Exactly. And if you notice that someone looks a bit down or sad, you can ask, "Do you want to talk about it?" It's such a kind question because it gives the person a choice. They can open up if they want, or just say maybe later.
Yes, it's like leaving the door open, but not forcing them to walk through it. That's a beautiful way to show respect.
Another nice one I love is something on your mind. That means, are you thinking about something difficult or are you worried? It's a very gentle question, perfect for when someone seems quiet or lost in thought.
Right, Emily. It's great for moments when you can tell someone isn't okay, but you don't want to push them too hard. It shows you notice their mood and that you're there for them.
Yes, and people really appreciate that kind of kindness. You never know. One small, caring question can make someone's day feel a little lighter.
That's so true. And remember, when you ask someone about their feelings, it's not just about the question, it's about the tone, the eye contact, and the genuine care in your voice.
Exactly. And even in English, where words are important, how you say them matters just as much. You can ask, "How are you?" in a way that sounds polite, but if you add warmth in your voice, it becomes real.
Yes, and I think that's one of the beautiful things about communication. It's not just vocabulary, it's emotion, it's empathy, it's presence.
I love that, Paul. And speaking of empathy, that's a perfect bridge to our next topic: how to respond to other people when they share their feelings with us.
Exactly, because asking is just one part. Listening and responding with empathy is the heart of real connection.
Well said. Let's show our listeners how to respond in a kind, caring, and natural way in English.
So, Emily, now that we've learned how to ask others about their feelings, let's talk about something equally important: how to respond when someone opens up and shares their emotions with us.
Yes, I love this part. Because when someone trusts us enough to talk about their feelings, how we respond really matters. It can either make them feel supported or make them feel unheard.
Exactly. And there's one beautiful word that describes what we're talking about: empathy. Empathy means understanding and sharing the feelings of another person. It's like stepping into their shoes for a moment, feeling what they feel, and letting them know they're not alone.
That's right, Paul. It's not about fixing their problem or giving advice right away. It's about being present, listening, and showing that you understand. Sometimes the best thing we can say is simply, I understand how you feel.
Exactly. For example, if someone tells you they're sad, you can respond with, "That must be really hard." It's a gentle, kind way to show you understand that their situation isn't easy.
Yes, I love that phrase. It's short, but it's full of care. And here's another one. I'm here for you. It's simple, but it's so powerful. It means you don't have to face this alone.
That's beautiful. Even in tough situations, just hearing those words can bring comfort. Sometimes we don't realize how healing it can be to know that someone is right there beside us, even if they can't fix everything.
Exactly. And there's another great phrase I like to use. Thanks for sharing that with me. It shows appreciation because sharing feelings isn't always easy. It takes courage to open up, and saying thanks makes the other person feel safe.
That's such a good one, Emily. When someone shares something personal, they're giving you a small piece of their heart. So thanking them is like saying, "I see your heart and I respect it."
Oh, that's such a beautiful way to say it, Paul. It's true. Empathy builds trust, and the more we show empathy, the stronger our relationships become with our friends, our families, even with our coworkers.
Yes, and empathy doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes just listening quietly or saying, "I can imagine that must feel difficult," is enough to make someone feel heard and understood.
Right. And here's a little tip for our English learners. When you respond with empathy, make sure your tone of voice matches your words. If you say, that must be hard, but your voice sounds flat or distracted, it might not feel sincere. So try to speak slowly, softly, and with warmth.
That's an excellent tip because at the end of the day, language is not just grammar and vocabulary, it's about making people feel understood.
Beautifully said, Paul. So, to summarize, when someone shares their feelings, you can respond with phrases like, that must be really hard, or I understand how you feel, or I'm here for you, or thanks for sharing that with me.
Exactly. And remember, empathy is like a bridge between hearts. When we cross it, we make the world a little softer and a little kinder.
That's so true. Now that we've learned how to respond with empathy, why don't we move on to something practical? Let's see how we can use all these phrases in real life situations.
Great idea, Emily. Let's show our listeners how to talk about feelings naturally in everyday conversations.
Okay, Paul, now let's imagine some real life situations where we can actually use the feelings vocabulary we've learned so far. Because learning words is one thing, but using them in real conversations is what truly helps them stay in your memory.
That's so true, Emily. Practice is what turns knowledge into confidence. So let's start with a common one. You've had a really bad day at work. How would you describe your feelings in English?
Hmm. After a bad day at work, I might say, I'm feeling tired and a bit frustrated today. The computer was slow, the printer jammed, and I had too many meetings back to back.
Oh, I've definitely had days like that. You can also say, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed after all that work today. That's such a natural way to express that you've had too much to handle.
Exactly. And I love that word, overwhelmed. It's strong but polite, perfect for describing stress in English without sounding negative. Now, what about describing excitement before a trip or a big event?
Oh, that's an easy one. You could say, I'm so excited for my vacation next week. I can't wait. Or if you want to sound a little more advanced, you can use an idiom and say, I'm on cloud nine about the concert tomorrow.
I love that. That's such a fun and positive way to express happiness. And it really shows how English can sound colorful when you use idioms.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about something a little more emotional. How to express sadness after a breakup or a disappointment.
Oh, yes, that can be a tough one. But it's important to be able to talk about it even in another language. You might say, I'm very sad about the breakup. It broke my heart. Or I'm really disappointed that the project didn't work out.
Those are perfect examples, Emily. Notice how you can use different words, sad, disappointed, heartbroken, to describe different shades of sadness. It makes your English sound real and full of emotion.
Exactly. And when you share your feelings honestly, it helps others understand what kind of comfort or support you need.
That's so true, Emily. Now, let's move on to something that happens to all of us, feeling stressed or tired at work. Sometimes it's difficult to talk about stress in a professional way, but it's very important for your mental health.
Absolutely, Paul. If you're under too much pressure, you can say, I'm feeling a bit burned out. That phrase means you're extremely tired and mentally exhausted, like a candle that's burned all the way down.
That's such a good image, a candle that's burned out. And if you just need a short rest, you can say, I need a mental break. It's a polite and professional way to say you need time to relax your mind.
Yes, and those phrases are so useful at work. They sound respectful and professional, but they also show that you understand your own limits. And that's an important part of emotional intelligence.
Very true, Emily, because being honest about how you feel doesn't make you weak. It makes you self-aware. And that's a great quality in any workplace.
Exactly. So, whether you're talking about stress, excitement, sadness, or pride, you now have a whole toolkit of English words and phrases to express your emotions naturally.
And that's what language learning is all about. Understanding not just what to say, but how to say it in a way that connects with people.
Beautifully said, Paul. Now, before we wrap up, let's talk about something fascinating: how different cultures express emotions.
Oh, yes, that's such an interesting topic. Let's explore that next.
So, Paul, let's talk about something I personally find really fascinating: how people in different cultures express their emotions. Because, not everyone shows their feelings in the same way.
Oh, absolutely, Emily. In some cultures, people might not talk about their emotions very openly. They might prefer to keep their feelings private because they think showing too much emotion could be seen as weakness, or maybe just something too personal to share.
Right, I've noticed that too. In some places, people are taught from a young age to stay calm and keep things inside, even when they're sad or upset. It's almost like emotional control is a sign of strength.
Exactly. And then, in other cultures, it's completely the opposite. People express their emotions freely and openly. They might laugh loudly when they're happy, cry when they're sad, or even talk about their problems with friends and family often.
Yes, I love that kind of openness. It can feel refreshing and real. But for learners of English, it's important to know that English-speaking cultures, especially in countries like the US, the UK, or Australia, are often a bit more open about emotions, especially in friendly or personal conversations.
That's right. Of course, not everyone's the same, but in general, expressing your feelings clearly in English is often seen as a good thing. It shows honesty, authenticity, and trust.
Exactly. And that's such an interesting part of learning a language. You're not just learning grammar or vocabulary, you're also learning a piece of the culture that comes with it.
Yes, it's like language and culture dance together. You can't really separate one from the other. When you learn how people express emotions in English, you also learn how they connect with one another in real life.
I love that image, language and culture dancing together. That's so true. And I think understanding this helps learners feel more comfortable when speaking English. You don't have to copy everything, but it's nice to know what's considered natural in English-speaking contexts.
Exactly. For example, in English, it's perfectly normal to say things like, I'm feeling a bit nervous today, or I'm really proud of what I did. You're sharing a part of yourself, and that's appreciated.
Right. And even simple phrases like, I'm so happy for you, or that must be difficult, can make your conversation sound more real and heartfelt.
Yes, it's like putting a little bit of you into the language. That's what makes it beautiful. Not just perfect grammar, but real human feeling behind the words.
Exactly, Paul. So when you're learning English, don't be afraid to express yourself, even if it feels a bit new or different from your culture. Remember, it's not just learning how to speak English, it's learning how to connect through English.
That's so well said, Emily. It's all part of the journey, a journey of words, emotions, and understanding.
Absolutely. And speaking of journeys, why don't we wrap up our discussion today by sharing a few final tips to help our listeners keep improving their emotional vocabulary in English?
Great idea! Let's give our learners a few simple but powerful tips to keep growing.
All right, Paul, we're almost out of time for today's episode. But before we say goodbye, let's share a few final tips to help our listeners keep improving their emotional vocabulary in English.
That's a great idea, Emily. Because learning to talk about feelings isn't just a lesson, it's a journey, both in language and in life. And the more you practice, the easier and more natural it becomes.
Absolutely. So, my first tip is keep a feelings journal in English. Every day, write one or two sentences about how you feel. For example, today I feel happy because I finished my homework, or today I feel a bit tired because I didn't sleep well. It's simple but powerful.
I love that, Emily, because when you write things down, you don't just practice vocabulary. You also learn to understand your own emotions better. It's like having a quiet little conversation with yourself.
Exactly. And my second tip is practice describing your day using emotional language. Instead of just saying, my day was good, try something more expressive like, my day was a bit stressful at first, but then I felt proud of my work. You see how much more colorful that sounds?
Oh, definitely. And it's also a great way to make small talk sound interesting. When you describe your feelings, you're not just giving information, you're sharing a piece of your personality.
That's so true. And for our listeners out there, remember, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every time you say something out loud, even if it's not perfect, you're getting better, little by little.
Exactly. Mistakes are not signs of failure, they're signs of learning. And the more you practice speaking about your emotions, the more confident and natural you'll become.
Yes, and remember, talking about your feelings in English isn't just good for language learning, it's good for your mental health too. When you express what's inside, you feel lighter, calmer, and more connected to others.
That's so important, Emily, because learning a language is not only about words, it's about connecting hearts across cultures.
Beautifully said, Paul. So, to everyone listening, be patient with yourself and celebrate your progress. Every new word you learn, every sentence you speak, that's one more step on your English journey.
And we're so proud of you all for being here, for learning, for growing, and for taking care of your emotional well-being. You're doing something amazing.
Absolutely. So that's all for today's episode of the English Everyday channel. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, share this episode with your friends who are learning English, and of course, hit that like button. It really helps us a lot.
And we'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and tell us, how are you feeling today? Or maybe, what was one time you felt super excited? We can't wait to read your stories.
Take care, everyone. Keep practicing, keep smiling, and keep talking about your feelings in English and in life.
See you next time, everyone.
Bye-bye.